Likely already seen the epic race between Noah Lyles and Kishane Thomson in the men's 100 meters of the Olympics. It was an amazing race. I just wanted to bring something to your attention that I, as a coach who's obsessed with technique, noticed. Okay, here we have Kishane Thomson and Noah Lyles. First thing we notice is that, like all good sprinters, whenever their foot hits the ground, we can see that it's actually moving backwards into the track. Here's Kishane's foot right here. And when it strikes the ground, you can see that it was moving backwards, which is exactly what we want, so he doesn't have any braking action. And then Noah does the same thing right here, moving backwards into the track. A couple of things that I want you to notice that are different, though, is that notice that when Kishane hits the ground right here, and his foot strikes, boom, right there, you can see that his shin is almost straight up and down. But notice Noah, when his right foot comes forward and it hits the ground right there, it's actually angled back. That's not ideal. It's what we call a positive shin angle. Anytime your foot is angled into the track, it's a little bit more of a stabbing effect, which is a little bit of a braking action. Ideally, you would like to see something more like what Kishane is doing. The other thing that I find really interesting about Noah is, in addition to this angle, you see the angle of his body here, and he's also angled right here. That means his hips are displaced backwards a little bit, and not really most ideal. So it's one thing that I find a little bit surprising for somebody who's obviously as fast as he is. But the thing I find the most difference is with their backside heel recovery. Like if we look at Kishane here, he's using what most athletes these days and coaches are teaching, how to get a faster turnover. And that's once your foot hits the ground. If we look at his right foot here, when it goes back, which it obviously has to go back some, but he doesn't let it drift far behind him and then approach his backside high and coming from the back. He brings it up to his butt more from underneath him, right? And you can see it right here. But what's really interesting is when a person does this, and you look at, say, his left leg here, meaning the foot that's coming forward, when it touches the ground, like right here, that his knee, the one that was coming back around, is already either equal to or in front of the leg that touched the ground. And we can see that's the case right here. And again, as we watch the right leg come through, when it finally hits the ground right here, we can see that his left leg has already made it forward to where his left knee is well in advance or well ahead of his right knee. This is a good sign of a good quick turnover. But if we contrast this with Noah, look, when he brings his left foot down right here and it touches right here, look at the gap between his two knees. That means that he allowed his right leg, as it drifted back, to approach his rear more from back here versus coming up from underneath. This is typically a slower turnover. And again, one of the things that I'm very intrigued as to why he does this or how he gets away with it. Now, this is something very interesting here. When we see Noah's right foot touch down, his left knee is indeed equal to his right knee, which means he pulled his left leg through faster than his right leg. Now, it's not as dramatic as with Kishane, because at this point, Kishane's left knee was well ahead of his right knee. But still, this is different than Noah's opposite leg. I'm going to follow this through one more time to see if this is a pattern. So notice that here his left foot is touching down, and look at the gap with his right leg being well behind his left knee. And then he brings his right foot forward, right leg forward, and when it touches down, the knee is almost caught up. So it's interesting, Noah actually is asymmetrical with his legs turning over. Again, pretty surprising for the fastest guy in the world. So that's really interesting, especially if you're as geeky as I am. I'm going to be doing more analysis throughout the Olympics. If you want to see those, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get notified. And if you want to see how I can help you with your running or hurdling, I have a lot of links in the description below, or you go to acemethodcoaching.com. Coach Ace out.